Hey guys, and welcome to Home Theater 101. I want to do kind of a short video on why I'm so particular about subwoofers. I actually put together a channel called or not a channel, a website called Subwoofer 101, and I'm not an expert. I'm just a consumer who's happy with what I've got. So let's get that out of the way first. But the reason I am so particular on subwoofers is because they serve a particular function. You look at your main speaker here, okay, and this is just a bookshelf. It's rated from, it says from 40 hertz, either 40 or 60 hertz, up to 20,000 hertz. Okay, thereabouts. Okay, so let's just say from 100 hertz to 20,000 hertz. That can all be handled by that. Okay, so it's a very, very broad spectrum. The subwoofer, however, is meant to handle a very small range of frequency. Okay, it's meant to handle from anywhere from 200 down to the lowest audible level, which is 20. All right, so it doesn't have very far to go. It's very specific in what it does. And the reason I had been so frustrated prior to getting this subwoofer here is that it would only function in about 2/3 of the audible listening range. Okay, which is, for me, I have my crossover set at 110 hertz. So at 110 hertz, my subwoofer starts kicking in and starts taking over the duties of the low frequencies. And in my past subwoofers, they would fade out or peak in different areas. Almost every subwoofer can do quite well at 63 hertz or 60 hertz, somewhere around there. It's a very easy number to hit. Almost anything that's designed to be a subwoofer can hit that. Okay, but once you get under 40 hertz, it gets a little more difficult. And then getting under 30 is incredibly hard to have it go through and sound good. Now, to have a subwoofer that is audible throughout the entire subwoofer spectrum, which, in my opinion is, like I said, 150 down to 20 hertz, to have it completely audible and, low distortion throughout that entire range is a much more difficult task than you would think. Like I said, most subwoofers, they run out of breath, typically around 30 hertz. And, they still produce sound, but it's not clean sound. It's not it's not putting out what it's supposed to put out. It's I don't know. I call it flutter, running out of breath. It just doesn't do its thing. And you'll have speaker companies that are rated for, oh yeah, our speaker will go down to 17 hertz. Well, okay, but if you limit that for an acceptable amount of distortion, that rating drops from that to 35 hertz. So it's not just about frequency response. It's about, how many decibels it's kicking out at different frequencies. And there's how level the frequency line is. You get a frequency line that's really level and just finally drops off, after it gets past 20. That's a great subwoofer, typically, assuming it's accounted for distortion and whatnot. But there are a lot of subwoofers that'll come in here and then peak way up here around 63 and then just do a straight drop off. And instead of being a flat line like this, it's shaped like this. So you get real boomy up here at your 60 hertz level, but then when you get down to 25 or 30, it's almost inaudible. It's hard to hear. That's one of those things to look for. That's one of those things that makes a big difference when it comes to a subwoofer. It's one of the reasons I like I like HSU and I like SVS, because they're frequency response lines, as you look at it on a graph, are awfully flat. Now, they're not, completely flat, but they're very flat compared to most others. And you can look at that on database.com. You can choose a speaker setup, and then you can overlap it with another speaker setup, and you can see the differences. But anyway, that's my thing on why I'm so particular on these, is because, you know, it's easy to get a speaker. Well, I'm not going to say easy, but it's more common to get a good, you know, main speaker that goes from 100 hertz to 20,000. You know, that's not that hard of a job. To get it to sound really good, maybe, you know, that's a whole other story. But to actually kick out the frequencies without distortion, not a super difficult task. With a subwoofer, it's a lot harder, and that's why I kind of did all this, because I've noticed all this, and I'm not the only one. I'm you know, I'm no pioneer, but, you know, in looking at the numbers of something like this, and then previous subwoofers I've had and how they've sounded, the difference is substantial. And, you know, I only know of a few really good subwoofer makers. Some of them are, you know, well known, and some of them are not. You know, most of them that make really good stuff are not well known. HSU, SVS. There's Power Sound Audio. There's Rhythmic. There's a bunch. You know, it's not just a couple of brands, but in the grand scheme of things, it is just a couple of brands as far as who really kicks out good stuff. There are some brands that have tried to go with the big box and tried to, you know, put in the big driver and all that stuff, and it's just not quite there yet. But I'm not going to mention their names, because maybe they'll get there. Maybe they'll watch videos like mine and other people's and say, you know what, we got to step up our game. You know, we've got to really massage this out and make it work. So anyway, that's my short video, 7 minutes, guys. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks.